Apple Inc.'s operating system, Mac OS, adored for its simplicity, aesthetic user interface, and awesome apps, has been a staple for the company's MacBooks and iMacs. In today's video, we go back to 1984, when it all began, and see how drastically the OS has evolved. Let's get started. Apple Inc. unveiled its first Macintosh computer in 1984, running on the Classic macOS. Considering today's standards, this OS was as simple as it gets, because it only ran one app at any moment. On March 4th, 2001, Apple Inc. released the very first version of its Mac OS X operating system. Codenamed Cheetah, this OS introduced the world to the Aqua user interface, which Steve Jobs had unveiled to quite a bit of fanfare. Other key features include the dock and apps such as Mail, Address Book, and Text Edit. You could get your hands on this OS for $129. Unveiled on September 25, 2001, Puma was a significant upgrade compared to its predecessor, Cheetah. Not only did it come with faster menu navigation, but it also had more configuration options like a movable dock and brand new system menus, which controlled volume and battery life, among other things. Puma also allowed for CD and DVD burning and playback while supporting third-party digital cameras and MP3 devices. You'd have to chuck $129 for the Puma or $19.95 to upgrade if you were already a Cheetah user. On August 23, 2002, Apple Inc. dropped the Jaguar OS. And even though earlier versions of the OS had Jungle Cat codenames, it was the first time they used the codename for marketing purposes. Of course, Jaguar was a significant step up from the Puma OS. It was sleeker and had an all-improved mail app, AOL Instant Messenger integration, screen magnification ability, and introduced the iChat. And speaking of introducing things, Jaguar was the first Apple OS to bear the company's gray logo. After dropping support for Internet Explorer, Safari became the official default web browser for Mac OS X, with the release of Panther on October 24, 2003. Panther included as many new features as Jaguar had the year before, including an updated Finder, incorporating a sleeker metal interface. Released on April 29, 2005, Tiger's banner feature was Spotlight, which then, as now, provided users with a personal search engine for the files on their Mac for the first time. Other key features included Dashboard, Smart Folders, QuickTime 7, Safari 2, Automator, and VoiceOver. Apple unveiled Leopard to the world on October 26, 2007, treating users to an incredible 300 brand new features. These included an updated Finder, Time Machine, Spaces, and a revamped Mail and iChat. In the summer of 2009, Apple Inc. dropped the Snow Leopard OS. Famously considered the bug fix edition of the OS X, this version was more stable and had better performance, thanks to features such as the disk space cleanup. While the previous version retailed for $129, this one went for $169 and $29 for Tiger users. On July 20, 2011, Apple introduced the world to OS X Lion. This time, users could view apps on full screen and autosave their documents while enjoying enhanced usability. Apple made a surprise summer release on July 25, 2012, unveiling the OS X Mountain Lion. It was way more secure than its predecessors, and perennial OS X apps, Address Book, iCal, and iChat, were renamed to match their iOS equivalents, Contacts, Calendar, and Messages. Notes, Reminders, and Game Center also moved from iOS to OS X. Among the events of the fall of 2013 was the drop of the Mavericks OS. It was quite a time to remember, because the OS was free, meaning users enjoyed new features such as iBooks, maps, and tags without spending $1. And in addition to being the first time that users could upgrade their OS for free, Mavericks was the first to be named under Apple's new theme of places in California. Yosemite was unveiled to the world on October 16, 2014, attracting even more users to Mac because it was free. This OS came with new features and improvements, including the ability to access data anytime and anywhere. Released on September 30th, 2015, El Capitán introduced pinned sights in Safari, advanced spotlight searches, and improvements to mission control, including a new split view. OS X officially became Mac OS with the release of Sierra in 2016. The most notable additions were Siri, Apple Watch Unlock feature, and Apple Pay. High Sierra landed in the fall of 2017, and like Snow Leopard, it was a primarily under-the-hood update. It was pretty much subtle, but laid a foundation for future improvements. This iteration of the Apple OS dropped in 2018, introducing users to Dark Mode, a refined user interface, and 4 new apps, namely Stocks, Home, Voice Memos, and News, brought straight from iOS. Catalina is known for ending iTunes and splitting Apple's media content library into 3 categories, namely movies, music, and podcasts, when it was introduced in 2019. It was way more secure, and came with an enhanced screenshot function. Big Sur was released with an all-new design that was nothing like its predecessor Catalina, or anything before. It supports iOS applications natively on Mac OS without displaying any compatibility issues. Launched in the fall of 2021, the latest Mac OS, Monterey, introduced shortcuts to help automate workflow. Additionally, it came with an all-new Safari, FaceTime enhancements, and universal control, allowing for a smooth transition between iOS and Mac. Over to you! Which is your favorite Mac OS version? Drop your answers in the comment section down below. With that, it's a wrap. Don't forget to subscribe for more evolutions. You're fantastic. Bye!